diamond like that, what do you do? Well, it works well. Are you getting sleepy? Sleepy. Anyway, I got a certificate of authenticity from the state park showing that, with my name on it, showing I found an 8-point yellow, 7/14/2011. This is another one we had made up as a pendant. It's got the card and the diamond is in a necklace, so that, you know, we had it for sale through our store, and then I pulled it out and said, I don't want to sell that one. Here's another diamond I want to show you now. It is small. It's a 2-point, so 1/50th of a carat. And the reason I kept this one, this is the diamond here, and I have a photo of it here, because it's an octahedron, very rare at the state park. Diamonds start out in the diamond stability zone, 100 miles deep, as octahedrons. But as they come up, they resorb and change shape. And I kept that one because that must have ridden inside of something. This is what the diamonds typically look like. This is also a 2-point, but this one's a yellow. I've got a picture so you can see it because it's so small, but to appreciate the beauty of that thing. So a little 2-point yellow I found at the state park, 8/8/14, so 10 years ago. They have different shapes of diamonds. You've seen some that are well rounded, like that 2-point, some that are kind of football shape, which is strange enough, and some that are mackles. That 13-point yellow of James Archer was a mackle, and in fact, let me show you a picture of a mackle shape so you know what I'm talking about. Yep, right here on the back of my book. This is a 101 yellow mackle next to my 2.04 carat football shaped. Now, the footprint on the two of them is almost the same as far as how much space they take up. But this one weighs twice as much as this one because the mackles are a naturally flat triangular diamond. And they just spread their weight out over a larger footprint. So I love the mackles, and they're rare. I found what I call a modified mackle. It's a shield shape diamond. Let me get the size, 11 points. I didn't want to lie to you. I found it on April 10th of '09, a yellow shield shape. And these are pictures so you can see what it looks like, but this is the diamond in a see-through display, and that way you can hold it up to the light and see the light come through it. And I really love this beauty, and glad that I found it. I found it the day before I found the 204 yellow, so I didn't have much appreciation for it at the time, but then later I thought, wow, I really like that little thing. You know, I was distracted with the other. I've got another ring here too. I just want to show you. The diamonds can be set uncut in jewelry, and this is one that has a couple of uncut diamonds from the crater. A friend of mine dug them up, had them made into a ring for his wife, and later his wife contacted me a few years later and said she needed money for Christmas presents and would I want to buy it. And yeah, we bought it, and my wife wears it, so it's a lovely ring. And so we've got some set uncut in jewelry. Most of my diamonds I've sold just to support my habit, you know, so I can keep diamond mining. You kind of got to sell them. So the large cut one from the Gold Prospector magazine, this one, the brown, sold for $9,800 after it was cut and certified and all that. The 2.04 yellow, never been cut, we sold it for $22,000. Now what's the difference? This was a 213 before cutting. This was a 204. The difference is the color. Worldwide, brown diamonds are much more common and less desirable. So the laws of supply and demand. Not as much demand for them, and there's a lot of supply, so the price is lower. Now on the yellow, the demand is much higher and the supply much lower. So that's what dictates the price on that. I guess I could go on and tell you old stories and everything. It was kind of hard to write a book about diamonds in Arkansas and record the history accurately because you interview a lot of diamond miners, and it's sort of like writing a book about fishing. You know, if you interview a lot of fishermen, and say, oh, that fish was this long, and their arms go out of joint, you know, stretching their arms out. But so you had to kind of sift through what was fact and fable. But do any of you have questions about?
I do.
Okay.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can hear you.
How do you get your diamonds cut? Do you have skilled people locally, or do you ship them out to India, or what?
Exactly. Very good point. Thank you for bringing that up. So how do we get our diamonds cut? There's nobody locally that can do it. In fact, if you think, oh, I know a guy who cuts sapphires, or a guy, you know, who cuts rubies, he can cut my diamond. No. Gem cutters don't cut diamonds, and diamond cutters don't cut gems. So my other option was, a lot of times people will send it to New York, and then New York sends it to Puerto Rico to have it cut, or New York will send it to Amsterdam to be cut, or something. I didn't want a USA diamond, nothing against Canadians, I didn't want a USA diamond to be cut in any other country. I wanted it cut in the USA. And I found a company, Schumacher's, up in Bismarck, North Dakota. Excellent diamond cutter. He did such a good job on that brown. I tried him out on some smaller diamonds first. You know, you don't want to throw your biggest and best out there first. But he did an excellent job at an unbelievable price. I don't see how you could mess with something like that and get all those facets just perfect. But the grade from the Geological Institute of America on his cut was just excellent. So he did a very good job for a good price. We get them cut in Bismarck, North Dakota, Schumacher's.
Glenn, it's Dave. Can you talk about the hardness?
Yeah. So back in the 30s, they were trying to get Henry Ford to buy all the diamond mine. And he said, well, I need to test these diamonds, see if they're any good. You know, they might be soft, you know, like quartz or something. And they got a bunch of industrial diamonds and sent to him, and he used them for tooling in his car production line. And those diamonds did not wear out as quick as the other industrial diamonds he was using. He said by their scientific testing on the line using them, they were 27% harder. They lasted 27% longer than the diamonds they were getting from South Africa. So these diamonds are harder. So not all diamonds are created equal.
And the fluorescence.
Okay. Worldwide, 27% of diamonds will fluoresce under a black light. And that same percentage holds true for crater diamonds. So if you think, oh, I'd love to get in there at night and go hunting with a black light and I'll find diamonds that way, well, you're going to miss 3/4 of them. And the other thing is, barite also fluoresces under black light, and there's a lot of barite all over that field. So you'll get a lot of false positives and miss 3/4 of the diamonds. So the way to hunt diamonds is not to sneak in there at night. You shouldn't be in there anyway. I never have. I've been tempted, but I never went in there at night like with a flashlight or anything, or a black light. But if you used a black light, it just wouldn't give you any advantage. But it is kind of cool. I want to tell you one thing. I was amazed. So that 8.61 carat Lamley diamond that my brother missed finding in 1978, there was a guy, Dr. Jim Horan, that wanted to start a collection. Some people collect thimbles, but he wanted to collect the biggest and best diamonds from Arkansas. So I said I'd help him find them. And we went back and found the Lamleys on the farm in Oklahoma, and they still had that diamond, and it was uncut, and they had it in a safety deposit box all those decades, and it was still just sitting there. So we bought it from him to resell to him, and while I had it, I used a black light to see, and that thing glowed white like a nightlight bulb, and it even luminesced. After you turn the black light off, it would slowly lose light. It's not like when you immediately. So some will fluoresce, and some will also luminesce, will stay glowing for a while after you turn off the black light. And that one did, and it's such a big diamond, and it was a brown diamond and it fluoresced white, so amazing. And some of the white diamonds will fluoresce blue. You just don't know what you're going to get.
Are there other areas other than the crater, I mean, Arkansas, that have, they have found diamonds?
Yes, yes. In fact, Dave helped me, and it's all within 3 miles of the Crater of Diamonds State Park. There are 7 known diamond pipes outside the state park, and we dug and sampled them, and Dave was there, Dave Humphreys was there with me when we operated a multi-million-dollar diamond recovery plant to find diamonds in those. Let me explain for a minute, like, why are there diamonds in southern Arkansas and not all over the place? I mean, what is unique about it? And the reason they're there is several factors involved. Continental drifting. When Pangea broke up, the continents drifted apart, and then they drifted back together and rammed into each other, and when they did, it buckled the once flat-laying rock, it buckled it up, and then the continents pulled back apart again, and it left a real weak spot, a deep-seated rift in the rock. And then eons later, there was earthquake faulting and volcanic activity that brought the diamonds to the surface, and they say from 100 miles deep. So we would not even have any diamonds on the surface if it weren't for earthquake faulting and volcanic activity. The volcano brings them to the surface.
Do you have faulting that produce that type of geology?
Well, I've been in southwest Arkansas for 28 years, and I've only heard one earthquake. We stepped out of church one afternoon, there was a giant crack, like a rock cracking, and we didn't feel anything move or whatever, so we don't really have earthquakes here. I think the crust of the earth has settled down and cooled and all that, so there is a fault line that runs all the way from like Texas and Oklahoma right through Murfreesboro, Arkansas at the Crater of Diamonds, and it goes up to what's called Magnet Cove, which is also a big volcanic event, but no diamonds there. And then it continues on up to the Little Rock area, Benton, where there's bauxite, and bauxite is also a volcanic material, but they make aluminum out of it. And the Reynolds Company owned a lot of that at one time up there, and they produced a lot of aluminum for airplanes during World War II. So, so that weak spot, there's volcanic activity all along that line, and different things have come up. Diamonds here and aluminum near Little Rock in bauxite.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Could you go over a little bit, for somebody in hobby scale that just wants to go prospect for diamonds? So our situation, where we're sitting right now, we are just west of the Rocky Mountains.
Yes.
I'm from just east of the Rocky Mountains, so we're on the old North American continent.
Yeah.
Diamond mines are directly north of me.
Yes.
I'm in Alberta, and there's kimberlite pipes scattered all over the province.
Right.
Nothing commercial, but they are diamond difference. We have a lot of mud, anywhere from 50 to 1,000 feet of mud covered. We do have placer diamonds
Yes.
in the river, small, very
Yes.
small quantities.
Yes.
Can you talk about how a hobbyist could prospect?
Well, I think if you were trying to get alluvial diamonds, I think a dredge is the way to go. But you need the difference between catching gold with a dredge and catching diamonds with a dredge is vastly different. Even though the equipment's the same, you need a really wide, long dredge because you have to allow time for that diamonds to drop out. The specific gravity of gold is way up there, depending on the purity, you know, around 21 or whatever, but a diamond is 3.52. And our other rocks around here, the specific gravity is 2.65. So when we're dredging gravel out of a river, there isn't a whole lot difference in the density between the diamonds and the country rock, the gravels, the quartz.
Do you have a sriracha or something like that?
Yeah, we use a Saruca. So the lamperite has specific gravity of 2.14, so it's a fairly light rock. And we wash that dirt out of there, the volcanic rock, and we concentrate our heavies, and we use a Saruca, which is a round screen, and we jig it up in the water and work it back and forth, and I have a video demonstrating how that's done. And then you kind of let the water drain out, and then you flip it over, and your diamond should be in the center on the top, along with your other heavies like barite, chromium spinel, red pyrope garnet, green chromium diopside. Your three main diamond indicators will be in there, as well as your diamonds. But I will say one other thing about prospecting. Diamond prospecting is a great hobby. It is really great, but it really stinks as a get-rich-quick scheme because, for one thing, I'm not rich, and it's not quick. I started in '78, so not a get-rich-quick scheme, but it is really a fun adventure because you never know what you're going to find next. You don't know if it's in that next shovelful, and you have to be an optimist too. A pessimist wouldn't make a good gold or diamond miner. You have to believe that the reason I'm digging this next shovelful is there could be a diamond or gold, whatever you're looking for, in that next shovelful. That's what keeps you going, is to see what you can find.
So has there ever been diamonds found this side of the Rockies?
California has diamonds. You know, when they were looking for gold in 1849 and after, they would find alluvial diamonds in the gold, and they never have found that source for that. But it's definitely a kimberlite pipe. And what probably happened in California is the pipe all weathered out and didn't leave anything but the root, and the root would be really small, you know, because they're neck down, they're funnel shaped. The top of the funnel has eroded away and put the diamonds in the river, and if you try to find the source, you're looking for something, you know, this big, and so you're not going to find the source. But the point is that there were diamonds there brought to the surface by a kimberlite, and it eroded down and it is in the rivers. I think you
Yeah,
could,
you're right. The diamonds that are found in Alberta, always university, they're found in the sluice box, and they're
right,
losing for gold, and they happen.
yeah, by mistake, right, yeah.
Well, that would probably be one Peace River, right?
It can be anywhere. There's kimberlite types all over Alberta. Diamond difference, but not commercial.
Well, the Rocky Mountains, just like the Ouachita Mountains here in Arkansas, they were created by continental drifting and the continents colliding and buckling up and then pulling back apart, creating that deep rift. So along the Rocky Mountains on the Colorado-Wyoming border, they call it the State Line District, there is a swarm of diamondiferous kimberlites there. And my wife and I have gone up and looked, and we actually did find a diamond up there, but all that is private land, and the ranchers are very anti-mining, and the Kelsey Lake diamond mine that was in there, they passed laws to shut them down, but Arkansas is very liberal on the laws on mining. They want you to mine, which, you know, the government should. It's like it brings jobs. And I inquired, what permits do I need? And they said, well, if it's less than 20 acres, you don't need a permit. You can dig a hole and leave it open. You can do anything you want. And I was like, great, that's what I wanted to hear. You know, I came to the right state. But in Colorado and California, they just have all kinds of rules that just make it next to impossible to mine diamonds. Now, Wyoming might be a little better.
Permit to dig a hole deeper than 4 feet.
Outrageous. That sounds like at the Crater of Diamond State Park, and that's one thing that aggravated me to where I wanted to move off and dig on my own. I could leave my hole open. You had to dig a hole a certain way, a certain slope, and it was just impossible to get to the depth that you wanted to get to in one day, and then you had to fill the hole back in at the end of the day, or you could get a ticket. I thought, I don't want a ticket, I don't want the hassle, I want to dig my way. Well, over at the diamond mine, I tease my friends that still go to the Crater of Diamonds. I said, I opened a hole 3 years ago and it's still open, and they have to fill theirs in every day. So it's great having your own diamond mine. And then, you know, I tease them too. Yeah, I dug really hard today. I used an excavator, you know. But I'm getting older, and that's kind of the way I need to dig anymore.
You done any exploration in Canada at all?
No, I've never been to Canada in my life. But I've read books about finding diamonds in Canada, and to me, it's complicated by glaciers. That's something we don't have in Arkansas here. Only thing we have to worry about is erosion. And after our diamond pipes were intruded, we had like 10,000 years of erosion, and that lowered them by about 150 feet. They were protected by erosion for eons. They were in place about 102 million years ago. And then a natural conglomerate concrete cap was formed over the top of it because there was a shallow sea here. And the rocks and pebbles were cemented together by iron. And that conglomerate is hard. And it made a concrete cap to prevent erosion. Well, that broke up about 10,000 years ago, and then it started to erode, and then we lost about 150 feet, and the diamonds that were in it. And where are those diamonds? Well, probably in the Gulf of Mexico by now, you know, with as much rain over the eons. But if you add to that complex dynamic glaciers, I would really be scratching my head in Canada, because they can go one way and then eons later they go another way, and the glaciers would just mess with my head too much. I have enough trouble just dealing with the erosion factor and trying to figure out what happened. One other thing I'll say about erosion too, and since we brought up the Colorado-Wyoming district, those were intruded about 350 million years ago, and Arkansas 102 million years ago. Well, on the Colorado-Wyoming state line district, there was nothing to prevent the erosion. So they've had 250 million more years of erosion there, plus they didn't have a concrete cap preventing the erosion until just 10,000 years ago. So the once huge diamond-bearing kimberlite pipes on the Colorado-Wyoming border have eroded down to just the roots. The roots are all that's left. And all those diamonds, they're downstream somewhere. So I think if I spent much time in Colorado, I would just check for alluvials and don't even go after the source. But then again, so much water under the bridge, as they say, those diamonds could be anywhere in 350 million years. Look in the Grand Canyon? Where would you go to try to find the diamonds? And then by then, they get mixed in with so many other gravels that it's diluted to where it's not profitable. You know, and at the end of the day, if you're prospecting, say with a gasoline-powered dredge, you have to find enough stuff to pay for the gasoline. That's your liquid gold, and that's your competitor, is finding enough value in what you dredge to cover the cost of the gas.
It probably is downstream in the Grand Canyon, because if I remember correctly, some of the history lower down on that river, it's got some of the richest gold deposits there is, but it's so fine. You're actually unable to process it efficiently enough to profit with it. So
right. And the same is true here. The gold-rich area of Colorado, the headwaters of the Arkansas River, is at Buena Vista and Leadville, and all that washes down, and there's gold all the way through the gold district in Colorado, and then it goes down to Salida and on down to Canyon City. And then from Canyon City, it goes across Colorado, across Kansas. It goes through old Dodge City, Kansas, the Arkansas River does, and it takes the gold with it. By then, it's really fine. Well, that continues and it goes across Oklahoma, and then the Arkansas River goes on down into Arkansas and right through Little Rock. That is the river through Little Rock, is Arkansas. And it's got gold from Colorado in it, but it's really fine gold. So it's not really profitable. There are companies that set up and they dredge the sand out of the Arkansas River and sell the sand. And I think, man, I wonder if it'd be profitable to set up, and they've already got the sand dredged and piled up there on the side drying so they can sell barge loads full of sand. And could you go through it for gold, and would it be worth the trouble? You know, but probably not, or somebody would have been doing it by now.
I will get there eventually on efficiency.
Diamonds ever been found in BC on this side of the Rockies?
Sure.
Not mine, I was here.
I've heard diamonds out of Yanks Peak. I've heard rumors.
But there's a supposed kimberlite just north of Likely. It's this side of the Rockies. There's a huge anomaly there, huge magnetic high, and cylindrical in shape. But the company that owned that property has never chosen to develop it and to really explore it. They make, to tell the truth, they make their money by talking up the property enough to get the value up and sell some stocks. And they're going to take the next step because they're afraid they might find something.
Well,
Let
let me make a comment about viability of a diamond mine. So, of all the known kimberlites and lamperites in the world, only 10% of them are diamond bearing. Okay, so 90% of the kimberlite you find doesn't have diamonds in it. I checked the kimberlites in Kansas, found a lot of garnet, not one diamond, because it came up too slow and all the diamonds completely resorbed out of it. So that's true of other kimberlites around. There's kimberlites near St. Louis, Missouri, no diamonds. Well, so only 10% of the kimberlites and lamperites in the world even have diamonds. Well, of that category of 10%, only 10% of them are commercially viable. The crater of diamonds is one of those that's not commercially viable. We use that diamond recovery plant that Dave Humphreys visited up there to wash through 9,600 tons of ore from the crater of diamonds. We only found 210 diamonds in that. That is a lot of material. So the crater of diamonds is not commercially viable. However, tourists go in there. A little girl went in there in September on her 7th birthday. She found a 2.95 carat yellow diamond. White diamond. And, you know, a man from France in January, Paris, France, visiting, was there just a few minutes. He found a 7.5 carat diamond. I've got a diamond here I'd like to show you too. Well, if I can find it. But anyway, oh, here it is. This, I love this beauty. 4.49 carat yellow diamond. Steve McCool found October 31st, 2020, 4 years ago. And I think it's just gorgeous. And so the site is not commercially viable, but somebody finds a 4.5 carat yellow like that that is absolutely gorgeous and valuable. So, not every kimberlite is going to develop a commercial mine, because 90% of them don't have diamonds, and of them, 90% are not commercially viable. So,
Oh, for a lot of when it comes to the gems and stuff, I'd rather just go out and get them. Usually that's what I do.
mm-hmm.
That's why I've been very curious, been trying to, gold I've been able to trace, silver I'm able to trace, but diamonds is a pretty new venture. So
Yeah.
I'm curious, what am I looking for in the field? To give me an idea of what I'm looking for.
Yeah, look for something like that. I actually produced a video for my YouTube channel, learn how to recognize genuine diamonds in Arkansas. And I use examples of African diamonds and then examples of photos of diamonds found in Arkansas. And we have hundreds of thousands of tourists come and look for diamonds every year at the state park. And the majority of them don't even know what an uncut diamond looks like. So how are you going to find something if you don't know what you're looking for? But most of the people don't. And there's a museum there that has some uncut diamonds on display, but people walk right past it. They're in a big hurry to get out there and find a diamond. They don't even know what they're looking for. In fact, some people, come and go, leave, don't even know there's other colors besides yellow. In fact, Marvin Culver, the state trooper that found this 4.25 carat yellow diamond that I like so much, he found it after the first 15 minutes that he was there and just took, oh, that's pretty, looked like a lemon drop candy, put it in his pocket. Didn't even know he had found a diamond. Didn't know there were yellow diamonds. One of my jobs is to educate people, like how to find diamonds, what diamonds look like, and how to go about being successful on your trip. But so many people, they will plan their trip to the state park, where they're gonna stay in the motel and where they're gonna eat and everything, but don't do any research on what they're looking for, how to find it. But a lot of people don't last very long. They find between 2 and 3 diamonds a day at the state park, and it's open 362 days a year. And last year, 836 diamonds were found. And that's nice, and I don't know, like 18 of them were over a carat. That's good that many diamonds were found, but a lot of people looked. But a lot of the people looking went in June, July, and August when it is so hot and humid that a human being can't last an hour out on that field if you're used to your home is air conditioned, the car you drove there in is air conditioned, the office you work in is air conditioned, you go on vacation and it's hot and humid, and they just can't last. You can't last a day, and you can't dig a hole out there. You know, people nowadays can't make it.
Good time for a Canadian to visit in the winter then.
Yes, actually, our winters are beautiful. I'm from Kansas City, which is an hour's drive north of here. We've been here 28 and a half years. It is so mild here. I think you call this winter. It was great. This February was fantastic. My favorite time to go to the park is November through February because there aren't many people there. Now you can get days if you pick the wrong time. Your water's gonna freeze and the ground will be frozen and all that. But if you pick the days, it's great. It's almost like you own your own private diamond mine because there's hardly anybody there compared to the rest of the year. But yeah, November, December, yeah. That's where Canadians ought to be. They ought to get out of Canada and come to Arkansas for the winter. Now you guys would be laying out there sunbathing. You'd say, "Oh, this is warm." And you'd call home just to hear how many feet of snow's on the ground. And say, "Well, it's 60 degrees here." You know, just do it to rub it in. My sister's in Kansas City, and I tease her about how warm it is down here compared to her dealing with the ice and snow up there in the winter.
We flew into Phoenix in April for a project just outside of Wickenburg, take a look at some gold. And the hotel people say, "Oh, there's some ice up in your room." And I'm thinking, seriously, just come out of an ice age? April in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Ice in the hotel room. Okay.
What? Did you leave the window open? That glacier, those are hard to figure out. Yeah.
The first time I ever had anybody ask me if I wanted a rare, medium, or well-done hamburger.
Wow.
Then I found out I even had an accent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then the other part was deciding what kind of beer, because they sure as hell didn't have any Molson Canadian.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Yeah. I really like your accent. I sure wish I had an accent.
Oh,